Hi, everyone. The mission of the Newsa-Cast is to carry on the tradition and services of the Red Smith Sports Award Banquet that was held in Appleton for 57 years. The banquet has raised over $1 million for youth sports in the area during that time. And as we work up to a live event again, we have developed the Newsa-Cast podcast. Through conversations, we highlight the stories right here from our own backyard. And just like at the Red Smith Banquet, we highlight the youth of our area, the coaches, the schools, and even local influencers that make our community great. If you would like to help us continue our mission, please head over to redsmith.org to donate. Today on the Newsa-Cast, Tosh and I sit down with the Community First Fox Cities Marathon Race Director, Julie Johnson. Tosh and I take an old look at new. Our Red Smith Banquet Throwback takes us back to 2002 and one of the fiercest pitchers ever to throw the ball, Fergie Jenkins. And then Tosh and I end the show like we always do with a little It's Forgotten and I'm Never Forgetting. So what do you say, folks? Let's get this show on the road.
I didn't start running until I was 40. And the reason why is I wanted something to call my own. I just needed my time. So I started running. I wasn't a runner in school. I wasn't a runner. And I found it to be very therapeutic. And it was my time.
Welcome to the Newsa-Cast. What is a Newsa-Cast? It's where we bring local folk stories to life through conversation.
All right, Newsa-Cast listeners, welcome to another amazing episode of the Newsa-Cast. We're just excited to continue to do this, and we're glad that you're joining us on the runner shows that we have. And speaking of running, we're going to run right into this episode, and we're going to talk running with the Community First Fox Cities Marathon Race Director, Julie Johnson.
No, absolutely right. We have discovered so many cool people in the Fox Cities, and this marathon has been here for 34, 35 years. It comes once a year. It's a full weekend. I mean, it's more than just a marathon. There's several. It's a full weekend of events. Everything from literally from a marathon to a diaper chase. You can do anything in between that you can imagine. It's part of that weekend, but it's a huge part of this area. And we're glad to highlight Julie. Get to meet Julie, and got to shout out Dale from the Fox City Sports Magazine. He hooked us up, and He knows we like to learn a thing or two about some people in the area.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fantastic. I mean, we had the turkey trot on, so now we're going to take a look at one of the bigger events for the Fox Cities, and that is the marathon. And it is a weekend thing. It's fantastic. There's so many people, and they've given so much money back to the community as well through this. So we're going to hear all about that, and as we sit down and talk with Julie.
For sure, but before we do that, how you doing? How was your week?
You know what? It was spring break, so it was a good week. Just kind of sat back, did some things, did some worked a few days, and otherwise just had some time to go to some local establishments like Dodge 313 in Kaukauna and enjoyed one of their fantastic old fashions, which are always
Nice.
Amazing. So yeah, big shout out to them. Love that place. They've been hitting it out of the ballpark since had drinks to go during COVID. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, good place. Really love that place.
It's kind of cool to see, we're a few years now past COVID, but to see how some of the restaurants have either kept what worked for them during COVID or kept the same, I don't know, takeout procedures maybe in place. It sort of changed our life for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. You know how else is working, Tosh? That I forgot to mention this right off the top, but that draft is getting closer too.
The draft.
We want to make sure that we keep you updated.
Construction has started. So
yes,
that's lanes are closed. Oneida's closed now by the stadium. The tarps are up. Construction has started. So it'll be fun to see that whole venue just grow and expand. What a great opportunity for Green Bay to show off the Titletown district and to welcome people to the land of cheese curds and spotted cow.
Oh, absolutely. People will learn. People will learn. They'll leave their money for us, and we'll all be happy. No, but yeah, let's hope the weather's a little bit better than it's been here in the last week. It's been just brutal.
Yeah, it has been. And I shouldn't say spotted cow. I know people drink enough of that, but we have so many breweries in the Titletown area. We got Hinterland, there's Badger State, Copper State is just downtown. Titletown is right down there as well. So there's some great breweries that hopefully people will be hitting up, and great food. And yeah, hopefully the weather's a little nicer than it is right now. We don't want to see ice storms and rain, and hopefully we have some nice weather to show off the community.
It's tough to be a runner in ice as well. Yeah, Tosh, it's we do, don't we? We live in the golden age of I think breweries, microbreweries. I mean, you're right. You just listed off a bunch in Green Bay. There's equally as many here in Appleton, and it's incredible all the delicious beer that's being brewed in our area.
Yeah, I'm sure there's I heard that there's still availability for hotel rooms in Appleton, Lower Fox Cities area here. I know Green Bay is getting full. EAA opened up their campsites that people could camp if they wanted to. I thought I heard at one point Green Bay was bringing in some cruise ships and people could stay on ships on the river.
Oh, yeah. That'd be cool.
So I know there's availability for lodging. And if you're looking for a place, don't be afraid to come to Appleton and Neenah, Menasha, Little Chute, this area, because there's lots of cool stuff to do here. And I'm sure Downtown Incorporated would love to show you around the city of Appleton and show you what's awesome and fun things going on here.
Yeah, no doubt, Tosh. There's always fun things to do. I love downtown Appleton. We talk about it all the time. The music, there's just been so much good music lately, and everybody's announcing their summer series. And we've talked about Paper Fest and Riverside, a little bar down by the locks, down by Stone Arch. They have a great Wednesday patio outdoor session in the summer. So yeah, there's endless things to do. It has been, we joke around about the draft, and it's been a year, but it is pretty cool. You're right, to see the events, what all the restaurants are doing. Mm-hmm. I think I saw they were doing like a supper club tour or something like that, where they were all, the supper clubs were doing something. But it's awesome to see all the little, the bars up on Broadway and things like that in Green Bay, all the different bands, the music, the food that they're planning to do, the themes that they're trying to do. It's pretty cool to see. I mean, it's literally a once in a lifetime event for our area.
I guess, that is one thing I don't know if I've heard. I know that the Packers said that they're bringing in some national artists before the draft and after the draft. And I haven't heard if those names have been announced yet.
I don't think they have, Tosh. I could be wrong, but I feel like nobody big has necessarily been announced. I'm seeing a lot of, the main bars up there, the stadium views and doozies, those that are right there by the stadium. They've been announcing, like the glam band and bands like that are playing there. But yeah, I feel like, doesn't Taylor Swift have to come or something like that?
Sure. Yeah, that would be, I think that'd be a little bit too big, but the sell at Lambeau Field for that would be, I'm sure a lot of people would be very happy about that.
Yeah, no kidding. Right. I can think of a lot of bands that can fill Lambeau. In fact, I don't even know if they would play in Lambeau. They probably would play in this huge stage thing that they're building.
Yeah, I don't know. Absolutely. We'll have to see. I know Joe would be first row at Taylor Swift. So,
yeah, I'll be right
on that one. So I don't know where it is. I heard some of the parks downtown were going to have the bands, that they had something set up there, but I could be wrong on that. I just remember hearing that there's going to be some national bands before and after the draft. Where that is and what's taking place, I guess we'll have to see. I'm sure we'll get a lot of announcements over the next several weeks leading up to this. So,
and Tosh, I'm never forgetting that I don't know a Taylor Swift lyric, and darn proud of that.
I'm pretty sure you probably do. It's just
maybe
buried deep in your subconscious somewhere.
Perhaps. Don't listen to a lot of Taylor, though.
No. All right. Well, I'm sure if Fish covered it, you'd be like, "Oh, that was pretty good."
I do like it a lot when other bands, and it doesn't have to be Fish. I know I talk about them excessively, but any of our favorite bands, I kind of like it when they when they cover other bands.
Yeah.
It's sort of cool to get their take on things.
Absolutely. So
yeah, yes, if they did play a Taylor Swift tune, I would definitely listen and probably dig it.
Well, speaking of digging, we can dig into this episode and get to our favorite segment, which is
an old look at new, Tosh. It's that time again, once again, for an old look at new, brought to you by Raleigh Winter and Associates, celebrating 55 years. Did you know that in 1962, an Appleton junior high school teacher with a strong work ethic started a residential realty company? His name, Raleigh Winter. 3 generations later, the Winters still hold true to a strong work ethic and an excellent reputation in the community. Today, Raleigh Winter and Associates remain actively involved in providing retail, office, and industrial users an affordable, well-designed working environment through the creation and/or acquisition of quality real estate in the Fox cities and even beyond new. So what do you say? Let's take an old look at new.
all right. We are ready for that look at history, where we take an old look at new, and sometimes we find something during the week that we're recording, and sometimes it's just random stuff that Joe finds on the streets. So,
Yeah.
Joe, what is your old look at new this week?
Well, Tosh, I'm going to take a play out of your playbook. I'm going to go with a date that I found, and it made sense. It's not even northeastern Wisconsin related, but it's certainly nationwide related, America related, because you and I, we record on a Sunday, so it's March 30th today. And in 1981, our president, Ronald Reagan at the time, got shot that day, an assassination attempt in Washington, D.C. And I remember it well. I mean, that was probably the first time we ever saw anything like that on TV. I mean, you and I were 11, 12 years old at that time. I remember vividly being at Franklin Elementary School and one of the teachers wheeling in, I don't know if you remember that, like the 2-stack really high, they probably maybe they still have them, TV carts, wheeling that in, and we watched, whatever the news coverage, probably Walter Cronkite at the time, and watched that right during school. And I even remember one of the teachers sort of crying at that time. It was pretty impactful, but that was that was incredible to watch that unfold. Yeah,
it's a pretty crazy story too. I mean, John Hinckley Jr. was the guy who shot at Reagan, and like there's some weird stuff. I mean, some of it goes back to the actress Jodie Foster and the movie Taxi Driver, and I remember some of that stuff, bits and pieces. But it was interesting stuff.
Just the way it played out. I mean, just with Reagan waving, and then just they're just throwing him into the car, and that was something else. I mean, fortunately he survived, but his James Brady, one of his, I can't remember where he was, and
press secretary.
That's right. He didn't fare as well. He struggled after that.
Yes, he did.
It's tough to see, but 1981, March 30th, 1981. And Tosh, what are you going to take a look at this week?
Well, I'm going to go back to another date as well, and I'm going back to April 1st, 1970. On April 1st, 1970, federal bankruptcy reference declared that the MLB's Seattle Pilots were bankrupt, and that paved the way for car dealer Bud Selig to buy the franchise. He bought it for $10.8 million and moved the club to Milwaukee, and that year they became the Milwaukee Brewers.
Nice.
Now, what's kind of interesting is, that was 1970, $10.8 million. That's what he bought the club for, which compared to today's current value of the Milwaukee Brewers is $1.7 billion.
Wow. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think when did he sell the Brewers? He sold it. It was like $228 million is what Selig sold it for.
Okay.
To the current ownership. And now it's worth $1.7 billion estimated value. So
dang.
Yeah. So that was I think Milwaukee was approved for a expansion team in 1969, but Selig bought the Pilots in 1970. So, yeah.
Yeah, we were entering the world right around then. But no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's great to be refreshed about that. You forget about some of those details sometimes, but I know people like to rip on Bud Selig, but then he brought Major League Baseball back to Wisconsin,
Absolutely.
and I thought he did a heck of a job. And he didn't need to step up and be the commissioner either of baseball.
No.
And I felt like he, agree or disagree with some of his decisions. He stepped up and I mean, he saved baseball in a lot of senses, him and steroids, but
Absolutely.
it's all right.
Yeah, it's good.
You need a helping hand.
You know what? He did a great job. We're should be proud to have him part of the organization and part of baseball. I mean, it's you can look back at any of our commissioners and find things that they've done that you disagree with, but I think there's a lot of things that he did that helped baseball, like you said, and I think he'll go down as one of the better commissioners.
Yeah.
So.
No, I agree. And he came to the Red Smith Banquet too. We have not done him in a throwback simply because I don't think we have that tape or unable to get that tape. It's been a bit of a process to get some of these, but yeah, he definitely came. And he always, you just triggered a memory, Tosh. Every single year, we always invited him to the Red Smith Banquet.
Okay.
Didn't matter what chairman, it didn't matter. For years, he was always invited. And every single year, he wrote a handwritten card or letter back to the committee, thanking them for the invite. I can't make it to the banquet this year. Best of luck. Every single year, though, handwritten, signed, old school. Never, ever missed a year. Incredible.
Well, there you go.
Yes.
So a good person all around.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, speaking of good people, who sponsors an Old Look at New, Joe?
Well, the good people over at Raleigh Winter and Associates, Tosh, that's who. All right, guys, here is our interview with Community First Fox Cities Marathon Race Director, Julie Johnson. So you're an Appleton girl, you born here, but part of the fun and excitement in your life was going to the Red Smith Banquet. So that's kind of cool. That's where this podcast was born out of. My dad was a longtime chairman, and I kind of was born into that banquet, and COVID kind of wrecked that banquet a little bit. We're still looking to do a live event, but this podcast came out of it, so we can kind of keep the mission going. We're really good stewards of our money, so we're still able to give money back to the community and to kids and scholarships. But Tosh and I love this community. We're Appleton guys, and we wanted to highlight one, just the great events like the marathon, but just the interesting people as well, and just kind of do it, I guess, Red Smith style, and then our own spin on it. And so here we are.
That's awesome. Yeah, my dad used to take me as a kid to the Red Smith, and you don't realize it at the time, but as you've gotten older and some things go away, you just think, wow, we were big. Like, it brought in some big name people, and it really served our community really well. We just didn't, I don't know if we took it for granted then or not, but boy, you appreciate it later on.
Well, I feel like you almost fight those battles with the marathon as well, because the same thing could be said, that it brings an identity, so much good. But I think sometimes people just kind of overlook that. It's just, they don't even think about it necessarily. And that's certainly a battle we fought with Red Smith, because it is only a once a year event.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think, the Fox Cities Marathon, many people don't realize that it's a nonprofit organization. And this being our 34th running this year, we take our race proceeds and we donate back. After all the bills are paid and all that, we donate back to local nonprofits. Wow. And that started in 2006. And so far, we're close to $1.2 million back into our community.
Oh, that's so awesome. That's incredible. And that's really what it's all about. I never put two and two together, but our two organizations are very similar in that. And I think it's really what makes the Fox City so great. We've talked to a lot of people on this podcast that kind of have that same feeling. There's something Jennifer Stefani calls it Houdini magic. So I've kind of been running with that. I feel like there's something special in all of us here.
I like that.
So you said you're an Appleton girl, grew up in Appleton. So can you give us a little bit of your background?
Yeah, I born and raised here. I went to Huntley Elementary,
Nice.
and then from there went to Einstein, and then I had to go to Appleton East along with 19 other students from Einstein. We had to take the city bus way over to Appleton East, while the rest of our classmates went to West. And that was. You think about it, I didn't go to Rosie Tech at the time, bringing out all the old terms, but,
Yes.
we had to take the city bus to the south side of Appleton. And, that was very different land over there. I joined the swim team, and it was always funny. My parents, can you come pick me up all the way over there? Yeah, I can't get a ride because everyone lives on the south side. But I left Appleton to go to school in Stevens Point. I studied radio and TV, and I decided that after a stint in radio, TV wasn't going to be my thing. But I fell into planning events after some time, and I was a participant of the Fox Cities Marathon. And I even sat on a marketing committee way back in the day. And so I was familiar with the event and all the going-ons. And I just happened to be at the right place at the right time when they were looking for a race director, and they knew who I was, and they knew that I had a passion for this event. They knew that I organized events, but I was also a runner. And so I understood that community, and I understood how running events work. And so this was a dream come true for me to be a part of this, and I'm so happy that I am.
There's no better feeling, is there, in the world when you're passionate about something and it's just effortless. It's and then to get paid for it certainly is the cherry on top. But I don't know that feeling. It's hard to describe, but when you can latch onto something like that and just be your heart and soul, that's a pretty cool. It's a pretty cool experience.
Yeah. And I'm always like, woohoo, look at me. I'm from the Fox Cities. Yep. Fox Cities Marathon right here. We got a great, we're fast and flat. And yeah, I got a lot of gusto. Let's talk about the Fox Cities Marathon. I'm always about that. But, a lot of people, because we're a Boston qualifier, and our event is in September, which is towards the end of the running season, so to speak. And so if you want to qualify for Boston, we talk about that. I mean, this is a premier fall event in the Fox Cities, and we're the only marathon in the Fox Cities. That brings a special group of people, just with participants, with our volunteers, with all of our spectators. It brings a really unique event to the area.
The Boston Marathon qualifier, I mean, that attracts people nationwide, right, to come to try to qualify, because there aren't many opportunities. And there's only certain opportunities, I guess, throughout the country to do that, right?
Right. I mean, and also as a runner, you look at the course, how is it? Is it very hilly? Because if it's really hilly, that's going to affect your time and your stamina and your endurance. And we don't give prizes anymore. We stopped doing that because we wanted the money to go back to the community. Yeah. So we're a community supported and we're a community supportive event. And so to be a Boston qualifier and to hold that certification is a big deal in that running community.
And how do you get that certification to become a qualifier?
Well, there is a gentleman that we work with locally. His job is to certify courses, and he lives locally, and he does the whole state of Wisconsin. But you need the cooperation and the support of your local communities in order to do that. Okay. We run through several municipalities, 3 different counties, and you need a lot of those resources to support this. When our course undergoes, let's say, road construction or maybe a road closure or something like that, we get involved pretty quickly and very much deeply because it affects our certification as a Boston qualifier. We look at every single foot of the course and make sure that it's okay to go.
That's amazing. That's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about was one, how do you even pick a course? Like, how do you, in 1991, when this thing starts, like, how do you, this is where we're going to run. You have some goals. You want to be in these communities, but how the heck do you get 26.1 miles measured out?
Well, our certifier measures the course, and we look at when you look at the Fox cities, we have great views of the water, and then we've added so many more paved trails along our course, and we want to take in that because that's one of our differentiators, right? We're not an out and back course. We take in different communities, we take in water views, and we go on paved trails. And as a certifier, you have to make sure that it's passable for a runner or for a walker. We have lots of walkers in our full and our half marathon. And we have to take a look at every little, foot to make sure that it's achieving the goal and safe for everyone involved, and not just the participants, but our volunteers as well. So our certifier helps with that. We updated the course last year and we were not able to use it due to a cancellation. But with that, adding more paved trails, our certifier was able to straighten out some lengths on some streets and make it not as turn after turn after turn, but kind of straighten things out. That added some great roads for our participants. It added easeability from a safety perspective and for all of our municipalities involved and our police, fire, and EMS. So we have a lot of people involved with determining the course and making sure that it's supported all the way through.
I always hear when talking about different courses, it seems like elevation is key. And I know you've referred to this as a relatively flat course. How big is elevation? Do runners crave that? Do they crave a flat course? I mean, how much does elevation play in the running game?
How would you like to run uphill?
I hate it.
Exactly.
Absolutely hate it. Get killer calves, though.
Well, for some of those runners who are trying to qualify for time, they look at their pace and their splits, and adding elevation is going to affect that. Even going downhill, you're using different muscles when you go downhill, and that all goes into their planning, right? And when we changed the course for 2024, the elevation did not change. It may appear that it did, but it really did not. And our certifier certifies that. And as a person who's going to try to qualify for time, that's important. They look at the elevation. They want to see it if they can. They want to try and practice on it if they can. But we have to tell that story very, very clearly.
I want to keep talking about the marathon, but I want to talk a little bit about you as well. So you said you're a runner. Have you always been a runner, or is this something that started a little bit later, started in college, or?
Yeah, I didn't start running until I was 40.
Wow.
And the reason why is I wanted something to call my own. I'm going to pick on my husband, but he does fishing, golfing, hunting, anything with an ing, right?
Yep.
I wanted to do something that I could do myself and not have, I just needed my time. So I started running. I wasn't a runner in school. Okay. I wasn't a runner at all. I mean, I'll walk, and I found it to be very therapeutic, and it was my time. And so when I started, it was like, oh, I'm just going to do all these 5Ks. And then I went into 10Ks. And then my first half marathon was with the Fox Cities Marathon. Right. And I was elated. I was so excited. And then you just kind of grow from there. Now, on this side of the finishing tape, I can't run our event anymore. Sure. Summer's very busy for me. So I still run. I try to run a half marathon schedule just because of the amount of hours that go into planning for this event. It's a full-time job, which I'm happy to say. So I still enjoy running. It's a great time to think. I think of ideas. I think of my to-do list. So many things. My sanity.
Okay, exactly. I hear a lot of people take running up later in life because it's something that kind of comes naturally. They're maybe not doing the competitive sports or competitive things they used to, but running fills a need. And do you see a lot more people coming into the Fox City Marathon that are doing like their first or second or just want to experience it for the first time?
Yeah, and we're a great first timer event because we're flat and because it's so easy as far as like you're connected with the community. You're not put out anywhere where there isn't support. One of the things that we really are excited that we provide support throughout the course. There's a porta potties and a water station every mile and a half or so. So you're always going to have something there for you. And so as a first timer, knowing that you have that much support out there, you should feel better that, we thought of you. We thought of, our volunteers, and we thought of the spectators. And as a first timer, you're within good company. Yeah. Because when you go through the different communities, there's people. And one thing that we do, and many other events do this, but we like to add your first name to your bib. And so, you're hearing someone call your name and you're like, I don't know them, but they see it and they'll call you out on it. So it's great. You feel like last year we were saying Midwest nice and all the hype. Right. We really are.
You can find every episode on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube, or any podcast app. Follow our social accounts for show updates, local events, inspirational content, or simply for fun. Follow us on Facebook, X, TikTok, Blue Sky, or Instagram. Please contact the Newsa-Cast to share your story, offer a suggestion of a particular athlete or sport, or even an idea, or just simply say hello. Newsa-Cast@gmail.com. So 7 communities you're going through in the planning process. How do you bring 7 or maybe even more agencies, towns, villages, everybody together so that they're on the same page for that weekend, but certainly for the full marathon and half marathon? How does that coordination work?
I think first off, this has been 33 years. So the foundation has been fantastic. From the very first event in 1991 all the way through, some great race directors throughout this time, and some great community support. I think that because we're well organized, that says a lot. And it's not just from, me and the team within the immediate marathon, but it's all the different municipalities that come together to support it. And it's well organized. So yeah, we have to go through 8 if you include the town of Harrison now, because they're no longer part of the quote unquote Darboy, which we're happy to call out. But it starts with, a lot of permits. You'd be very surprised at how many permits go through this.
Oh, I can't imagine.
So we have Menasha. Yeah, we have Menasha. We have Appleton. We have town of Harrison, town of Buchanan, Cabine Locks, Kimberly, Fox Crossing, Neenah. We have Outagamie County, Winnebago County, Calumet County. We have the DOT. We have the State of Wisconsin Patrol. We have police, fire, EMS, you can imagine, from every municipality. And so we all come together and we talk a lot and we plan a lot. Wow. So every quarter I have a police, fire, EMS meeting, and we talk about safety needs. We talk about roads. We talk about volunteers. We have a command center that's fantastic. We have a crisis plan. We have a mutual understanding with all of the municipalities. The coordination it takes to even place porta potties, 154 of them out on the course.
A lot of peeing.
Yeah, it's a lot of planning, and that's why it takes you around, because you never know what's going to come up. Right. It could be, we found out that this road construction plan has kicked in, and now this is going to happen, or something else. And so you have to keep those relationships going all year round so that you do know what's going on.
I'm still blown away because all those agencies that you mentioned, just the permitting process has got to be overwhelming, that the amount of paperwork you guys have to do for that. And to keep a schedule too. It's not like you can, they all have to be different dates and deadlines, I'm sure.
Yep, I start in January, and sometimes it takes 7 months, 8 months to get the permit through. If you have your course going over a county road or a Wisconsin state road, like the DOT gets involved, you have to have permissions to detour, permissions to close a road, permissions to have it down to a runner's lane with traffic going, north or south or east and west.
Right.
There's even, this is my funniest one, there's even a permit that I have to pay $10 for, and I have to drive out and get it to use, 10 or 20 feet of a trail.
Wow.
Nice. I mean, this isn't something you go to school for and say, I need to learn how to do all of this, and this is what I'm going to be doing. How you've been doing this for a while, but how do you just keep learning every single day? And is it you get to a point where you have certain things in place, but it always gets added to? How did those first few years you did this, what was it like?
There's the way things are organized, you have to learn and understand how it's organized and why, okay. Right? So you're kind of like, I'll jump in, I'll do whatever you need me to do. But then things change. It could be the way the permit is set up. They've changed the way how to do it. Talking with the people involved and understanding, okay, what do I need to provide you? And just having those relationships and creating those relationships. Okay. It's really important that we stay connected, and it's really important that if something goes awry, we're working on this together. Okay. There's always going to be something new that you want to implement into the event to make the experience great, and understanding, okay, what do we need to do to have this happen? Who needs to get involved? What permissions do we need to do? We had a situation where a water station needed to change the location, and it was going to put it in front of someone's house. We take great care with our neighbors, and we want to be neighborly. And so it's connecting with that neighbor to say, this water station, could it be moved to your front yard? Mm-hmm. And for this amount of time. And most people are great. Okay. They're like, yeah, absolutely. How fun is this? Yes, it can be an inconvenience, and it could be for a short time, and it could be for a longer time. But again, we work with so many great people with our municipalities, with the police and the fire and EMS and all of our volunteers and our spectators, that they work to make it happen. We are put on the map for a great premier event in the Fox Cities every fall, and brings in people from all over the United States. This year, we even have someone registered from the U.S. Virgin Islands and Alaska. Nice. Oh, so nice. When we have people when we have people coming, we're like, we are going to roll out the red carpet and we're going to show you a great time. And that's what we want to do.
Absolutely. You mentioned the spectators. It is kind of cool when they're racing. I mean, people take it serious. They're dressed as cheerleaders. They're cheering on. They're having breakfast parties on their porch or whatever the case is. But they really take it serious a lot. I mean, you have thousands of spectators throughout the course.
Mm-hmm. We estimate about 10,000 people. And, as a participant, there's nothing better than seeing a little kid, sitting on the driveway eating their Cheerios or whatever it is. And you're just like, thanks for getting up.
Yeah. No doubt. So we've talked about the marathon and all the events, but I mean, it truly is the whole entire weekend. You're out at Fox City Stadium and use that venue is set up. You have competitive walking. I mean, you have so many different things. It's way more than a marathon. And I don't even know where to begin, but maybe just walk us through the weekend of a marathon weekend.
Sure. Well, one of the things that we implemented last year that we're doing again this year in May is our competitive walk division is a race walking division. It has rules and it has judges, so to make sure that you walk the right way. And we're really lucky because we have a 2-time Olympic trials qualifier that lives here locally. And so He won our competitive walk division, which is a half marathon in 2023. And he wanted to do a race walking clinic. So we're like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
It went over big. So we're doing it again this year. I know, it's so cool.
So the competitive walking, how, I mean, they take that serious, right? I mean, that's like a real thing.
It's a real thing with rules. You got to follow the rules, and there's judges out on the course. They can disqualify you.
Okay.
It's 1 foot down on the ground, right? At all times, it has to be at least 1 foot on the ground. Is that the basic rule?
Correct. Yep. And you got to learn how to use your hips and your arms.
Sway. Yeah, it's an incredible form. I mean, it probably takes a while to master. How tight do they toe that line of between a light jog and a fast walk?
No, you really have to know your rules. There are some serious competitive walkers. Okay. We've had one gentleman that has come several years from New Jersey or New York, one of the two. And we've brought in people from all over that really take it seriously. They enjoy the course because it is flat. It's a half marathon, yep. And it's a flat course. And so they really enjoy the course overall, and they love the finish line. You finish with everybody else on Sunday, and it's a good time.
What's the time difference between, say, like the top competitive walker doing a half marathon and a runner? Is what would be the difference? The time.
Well, I think many people get this confused. Yeah, our open division for the half marathon, you can run, jog, or walk. The competitive walk, you have to follow the rules. Yeah. But we have grown walkers in our half marathon in the open division where, we have a very generous course time. We start at 7 a.m. and our course doesn't really close until the last person crosses. We want to make sure that we are there for that. We want to greet them when they come in. But we have walkers that come in, maybe they'll finish at noon, maybe they'll finish at 2, okay. But it gives them a chance to earn a medal. It earns them a chance to finish and be super proud.
Because I feel like some of the top ones can really get a good pace, whatever it is per mile. That you get the hips swaying and the arms pumping, you can fly.
If you haven't seen Jordan Crawford walk, wow, he's our Olympic trial qualifier that lives locally. Okay. Him and his buddy Bryson Healy, who also is an Olympic qualifier, they're going to be hosting our race walking clinic. And just watching their form and just watching them is just amazing because they're faster than I am running.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just crazy.
That's awesome.
I don't know, but walking fascinates me. I'm a letter carrier, so I walk for a living. So I kind of it intrigues me. So I might have to check them out. Northeast Wisconsin Sports Advancement, or Newsa, is a nonprofit org where our mission is to raise money, provide support, and bring greater awareness to youth sports organizations in Northeast Wisconsin. We do this primarily through the Red Smith Sports Award Banquet and the Newsa-Cast. Each year, we give back to the community through the Every Kid Plays grant. If you are considering donating or providing support through Newsa, please visit redsmith.org for details.
Going back to the whole weekend, the amount. I don't think people realize, and we're in middle of draft season right now, and we're talking about all the money that's coming into the Fox Valley and the area with the draft, but the Community First Fox Cities Marathon brings in an amazing amount of money to all our businesses and our communities as well. Could you touch a little bit on that and just kind of talk about how the partnerships and everything that you've been able to develop through the years?
Yes, we work really well with the Fox City CVB. We really plan for this is truly the best way we can. And we try to have hotel blocks for our participants who are coming in, traveling, flying into our airport, driving into town. They need a place to stay. And, we work with the hoteliers in the area through the CVB to create blocks and opportunity for people to have a place to stay. There's so many different businesses involved, and our sponsors are fantastic. I mean, because we're a nonprofit, we couldn't do it without our sponsors as well as our volunteers and whatnot. So our sponsorship is very important. We have many different opportunities to be a sponsor. And also our in-kind sponsorships. We need food at the finish line. We need certain resources, and we have some great businesses that have provided in-kind for us to make this happen.
What's the pasta dinner like? Obviously, Michael Scott in The Office didn't do it right. What makes a good pasta dinner the night before?
Well, I would love to partner with a restaurant to offer that. Sometimes people don't want to do pasta, but it depends on, your training and what your goals are for that day. But I would love to do something the night before. Our Friday night is kind of jam-packed with our staff because we have the Kids Fun Run on Friday night at the Fox City Stadium. That is a sellout every year. It's amazing. It's a ton of fun. It gives the kids a chance to, take in the stadium, run the bases, earn a real medal. I mean, they get the same type of medal as the full marathoners get, the half marathoners, the relay marathons, the whole thing. So Friday night, we have our Kids Fun Run. On Saturday, we have a 5K and a 10K. So those start at 9 a.m. at Riverside Park in Neenah.
Okay.
And then on Sunday, we have the full, the half, the relay, and the competitive walk events that start on Midway Road at 7 a.m. And then they finish at Riverside Park in Neenah.
And you still have the diaper dash, right?
Yes, we do. That is so cute.
Truly, the whole family gets involved.
They do. And I wish I could take in more of that, but we also have a health and wellness expo on Friday and Saturday. So, we have so many things going on, and the health and wellness expo is open to the public. So, you can be, I have to be everywhere along with everybody else.
I'm always fascinated by, we talked to like Dave Willems and Jennifer Stefani, people that also put on big events that cover large spaces, maybe multiple venues. I'm always amazed at the coordination. Like your weekend has to be nuts. I can't imagine how you just get pulled in a bazillion different directions. How one, you keep peace of mind, but I guess too, that's probably one of your favorite parts of your job is just that adrenaline rush. That whole weekend is just, you're live, you're going.
Yeah, we owe a lot to our volunteers. We have some great team leaders that have been through this, that come back, and they've been through this so many years. They know what they're doing. And the amount of trust that's built is huge. Not just from, I know that our volunteer team leads and some of the other people involved, they know what they're doing, but also the participants have to have the trust in us. To make sure that they're, safe and that they will reach their goal.
Right.
They will reach their goal, whatever that is. But also, through the years, Fox Cities Marathon has earned the trust of our communities and those involved, our sponsors, all the different municipalities and whatnot. And I think Community First Credit Union, who started this, has really earned credibility with, we look out not just for our own, but for everybody. We look out for everybody. And it may not be, the right decision in some people's minds, but we have to consider everyone. And that's taken very seriously in our planning, especially when it comes to weather. We don't want to have anything happen. Yeah. So, you have to balance that well. And it may not be in the eyes of everyone, but there's a lot going on behind the scenes that people realize that we have to take into consideration.
Yeah, that's the tough part, isn't it? And nobody's ever going to see everything that you're dealing with. They're quick to criticize, and it's not everybody; it's only a few. But that's tough to take when you're putting your heart and soul into it and trying to make the best decisions, and you get some knuckleheads that are second guessing you.
Well, and what they don't know. And I get that, I mean, even me, I didn't know all this went into it, it just, when you run through that many communities and you have road closures and you have support, and can you delay something? Yeah, you can. up to an hour. Our permits say, our time frame. The municipalities, they have staff involved. I mean, there's so much, the city of Menasha puts out cones. Who else puts out cones?
Right.
I mean, we have some staff that puts out cones, but then, you think about the guys in the middle of the night that are placing the porta potties or the water station tables, last year at 5 a.m., well, probably earlier than that, we had over 118 volunteers setting up the course on a Sunday morning with the storms. And we had to say stop because we were concerned for their safety.
Okay. Right.
And that hour delay that people think, why didn't you delay? We weren't done setting up the course. I mean, we can only start at a certain time and we have to get it ready for everybody else. It's kind of funny because when we start the race at 7 a.m., after it started and we made sure everybody's gone, we got to hightail it to Riverside Park and Neenah. Now, granted, we got to keep in mind of the road closures and things like that because our first half marathoner is probably going to cross at 8:15.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's fast. Yeah. So we have to be prepared. We have to be ready to go. And we have a great crew at Riverside Park who's ready. But, me and the executive director and, there's some key people that want to be there to see the first person through because that tells us that the course is good.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Since you started this, how has the growth been for the marathon since you came on board?
I was really happy to see that we had an 18% increase in registrations last year in 2024 from 23. I think COVID really did a number on not just our event, but in the running industry as a whole with many different events. Some events didn't return. Yeah. Some events, are struggling to come back. And, our numbers in 2019, 2017, they were high, and that's my goal to get back to where we were. But, it takes time to grow back. It takes time for people to feel like, yep, this is what I want to do. Now, coming off of a cancellation is hard. Sure. People don't, what are they going to do this year? And we're planning. I mean, that's what I do. My full-time job. I'm planning, but, I think as a nonprofit organization, we gave all of our paid registrants for Sunday's event a $30 discount to use. Okay. That's a very big discount for a nonprofit to provide. Yeah. And it's because we felt like we owe it to them. Okay. We wanted people to come back this year and experience us. Many first timers didn't get the chance to do it. But it's our way of we see you, we want to celebrate you. And so with that cancellation, if you as a participant ran in a different event or you ran it on your own, if you submitted your time, you received a personalized box with your name on it that had your medal in it. Oh, okay. It was mailed to your home. And we wanted to celebrate. We wanted to make people feel like, wow, they do see me. Yeah. We do appreciate you. I mean, you're not just a registration to us. You're important. And we wanted people to feel good because, I was crying. I was sitting at the finish line, hearing people cross and celebrating on their own. And I don't know how many crumble cookies I had that day because I was just so upset.
Wow.
You put into all this. And,
I have some friends that have run the half marathon and in the full and the dedication that they put into doing that it's incredible. It's you don't just wake up and go run a marathon, whether it's a half full, even a 5K. I mean, there's you got to run it. You have to make it part of your life, and they, like you, it's a big part of their life. It's for a lot of different reasons.
When I was training for the half marathon, my first time, it's kind of funny. You run over 300 miles, for 4 months to run 13.1 in one day, Yeah. And to tell thousands of people no wasn't easy.
Yeah.
It was a very difficult thing because I know what they went through. I know what they were planning. And it was really difficult. It took a while to get over that, but also, you know, when you think about it, we had so many people out on the course, and the course is its own entity. So it's kind of like a soccer field. It's its own, it's its thing, right? It's the whole field is the field. The course is the course.
Right.
So whatever is happening in one part of the course affects everything else. And, you know, when we were that morning, you know, at 3 a.m., watching and just talking, and then as the 5 o'clock hour drew near, talking to our volunteers out on the course, and we just, you know, their safety is in our hands. And I mean, it would just be devastating if something were to happen. And so we had to make that tough decision. And, you know, it wasn't pretty. It was hard. And people still talk about it. And there's still a lot of questions, which I totally understand. But we want a great experience. And so when we can't provide it, we have to look at safety as number one.
Yeah, absolutely. And nobody in the history of man has ever beat Mother Nature. So it's impossible.
Right.
When you're running, I'm just curious about you and just your running routine. I'm always fascinated because I enjoy working out, but I feel like I always need to be. I struggle when it comes to running, and mostly it's your mind. Like, what do you do when you run? Do you think about something? Do you have a task list? Do you listen to music? Like, how do you get over that minefield for me? I'm not sure if it is for you or not when you're running.
Well, when I run, I mean, you do get that runner's high, but my problem is when I'm running in the summer, I'm thinking about work, and then I think of, okay, that's number one, that's number two, number three. And, oh gosh, am I going to remember this when I get done?
Right.
Because then I have to stop and put it in my phone of all the things I need to be doing and think about and what I got to do the next day. But it clears your mind. It also keeps me connected with the runners community and walkers community, because I walk too. It helps just keep me calm. I mean, this is not race day or marathon weekend is, 90 miles per hour, right? I mean, it's go, go, go. You're doing a lot of things. You're, talking to a lot of people. If you got to tow a car, you got to tell the guy, tow the car, Yeah.
Right.
But, I think that for me, running has always been a way for me to just stay calm and just kind of even myself out. Running on adrenaline, you can only do so much before you need to regroup, and this helps me regroup.
Okay.
I'm happier. My husband thinks I'm happier.
That's good.
But yeah, I think that as I get older, though, it's getting harder, which I don't like to admit. And there's more injury, which is like, come on. But, I think it's important for us to get out there. And I think anybody who has a workout routine, they understand that if you don't work out, when you need to. You start to get a little agitated. And, you do your thing. And if that's what helps you, do it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, you definitely feel it if you don't do it. Yeah, those nagging injuries that the older you get, they seemingly come out of nowhere too.
Yeah, I used to say that I used to eat to run. So I would eat well to run well.
Sure.
Now it's flipped. I run to eat.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
I get made fun of. By my friends that I have to outwork my diet, which includes never putting gas in my car, only riding a bike, and working out every morning. I need to, and then be a mailman besides. I got to burn a lot of calories because I love to eat.
So what ballpark, what do you guys hope for numbers this year? How many runners do you want to see in the marathon? And is there, if you look 5 years from now, is there a point where where this event can only hold so many?
I think for the kids' fun run, we look at that with the capacity of the stadium. and also making sure that the kids have the space that they need. With the 5K, 10K, we're that's growing. The 10K, this will be its 4th year since its inception, and it's growing really well. So yeah, we tend to look at the numbers because the 10K and the 5K, they start together at 9 a.m. and somewhere you have that cross. Yeah. And so we're looking at that. Looking at the numbers on Sunday's events, where it used to be 9,000, 10,000 people, we still have space. We still have room.
Okay.
And we hope to grow that more. Yeah.
And really the best way, I think, for people to sign up, and maybe we should probably let people know exactly too, kind of the timeline of when to sign up, but just go into the Community First Fox Cities Marathon page. You have a fantastic website that answers all your questions, gets you registered and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. foxcitiesmarathon.org is the site, and you can find out information about each of the events and register. And right now, people are looking at the spring weather. They're kind of waiting for it to start, when they can get out on the path and on the road and start training, and I'm a big component of cross training. Every summer you're older, right? And
unfortunately,
I know. And it's just, what is your body, going to take on? What can you take on? I think our brain, our mental, wellness, I feel like I haven't aged, but I guess I have, you just don't want to think about it that way.
Yeah, aging's funny. I think about it a lot. That I definitely feel a lot younger than what I think, a 50-something-year-old person should feel like. But
right.
But a lot of that, I think, like you said, is people just have to move. Especially, I have a lot of friends that are my age that can't even get out of the chair or tie their shoe, and you feel bad, but you right. have to just move. And there's so many great ways. You don't have to go run a marathon, but you can you can go walk a 5K or take a yoga class.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And so I know that people are anxious to get outside. I am too. Yes. I hate walking in this. I do.
One of the great things, I did the half marathon. Gosh, it was back in the early 2000s. And unfortunately, I had some knee injuries. So that kind of was like the only one. But when you talked about the community and you talked about the people on the course, it was amazing. I mean, it was 13 miles of people constantly cheering you on. And I know that's just gotten better and better over the years as well. I live in Harrison on just off of Coop Road, so we get to see it every single year. And it's incredible. I can't imagine the feeling that you get when you hear all these people running a race saying, yeah, this is amazing. There are so many people here just to cheer us on running. That's pretty incredible.
Well, one of the things that we're really excited about is to add hoopla, as we call it, on the course. Nice. So on the full, we have it on the full and the half. So the course starts out together, and then at mile 2, they split. The half goes one way and the full goes the other. But we add a lot to our course for hoopla. We have about a dozen DJs who play music for you. We also have what we call a spirit challenge. And so this is a sponsored challenge that we have middle and high school cheer teams out on the course, and they have to entertain, and they get judged, and they get first, second, or third place, and they earn money for their program.
That's awesome.
So we have about 6 different cheer and dance teams that are out on the course to help our participants along. And then the other thing that we utilize too is back in the day, WIAA did not allow cross-country teams to participate in long-distance running events. And so we take those high school, we take the local high school cross-country teams, and they can earn up to $1,000 stipend if they volunteer that weekend.
That's nice.
So they help out at our water stations. Yeah, and they help out at our course intersections, course marshals, and they earn community service time. And they can earn money for their program. That's what we like to do. You're earning money because you're a part of us. And so we want to contribute back to your program. So between DJs on the course, cheer and dance teams, we have themed water stations. Yep. Some of our sponsors take in our themes. We put a lot of attention. I mean, we even had last year scheduled Chinese dancing dragons. Nice. One of the youth organizations was going to do that for us. We put a shout out board at Arrowhead Park, which is just a dreadful area. There's no shade. It's just very, But we had a shout out board and where you could record a video for your participant. And when they cross a certain timing mat, their video comes up on this huge LED board. That's awesome. So we introduced it in 23. It was a great success. People loved it. And so we brought it back and we're trying to bring it back again this year.
Cool.
That's really cool. You just triggered a question on timing. Is there a certain, I mean, that's pretty intricate, the chips and the actual timing and all that. Is there a certain company that does that, or how does the actual, the logistics of the timing work?
So we use a company called MTech Timing. They do several different events. There are other timing companies around the United States. So you have timing mats that are set out so that people can understand their splits. They help put running clocks out so that, you know, if you're, again, a participant who's running for time, you can see what your splits are. A lot of people wear their watches that tells them everything that they need anyways.
Sure.
But for awards, we count on the timing mats to tell us. We have Masters Awards, we have overall awards, and then we have our age awards, our top 3 in all of those categories. And so we do that with the 5K, 10K, and with the Sunday events. Those are all timed, and you can earn an award. But yeah, it is tricky. You know, there's a lot of coordination with that, where they're located, making sure that they're crossable, that there's nothing that would get in the way of a participant. So, you know, that's another thing you have to plan for.
Yeah. Oh, it's incredible. You learn something all the time. You mentioned all the different teams and groups and organizations that help out. At the end of the day, then how many other volunteers do you ultimately need? And do a lot of these volunteers, do they kind of make it a yearly, like you see the same volunteer family groups or whatever, do the same thing year over year?
Yeah, we need about 1,800 to 2,000 volunteers for the week. There's, you know, setting up, there's stuffing the goodie bags. We have people that have to stuff the goodie bags that everybody gets. So we do have some people that have come year after year. You know, we have some participants that have run all 33 years, 34 coming up. And then we have some volunteers that are the same way. That's amazing. And probably some spectators too. So yeah, it is like, it's a family, you know, they come together marathon weekend and it's a lot of accomplishment. It's a lot of pride, you know. It's really cool to see volunteers high-fiving. It's really cool to see volunteers getting excited about it. You know, that just drives me, you know. I'm just like, thank you so much for being here. How you doing today? You know.
Now, that's really cool. I think I might get back to that Houdini magic, but I feel like a lot of these groups, whether it's Mile of Music or Oktoberfest or any of these large community events, people, families, groups, friends, whatever, they kind of make it their thing year over year from the volunteer side. And that's really cool to see. Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I mean, people should be proud.
Right.
People should be proud that this is happening. I know it's an inconvenience at times, but man, you might be with an organization who receives a donation back from us. and the
Right.
impact that has made, to your organization. Your child may have been involved with volunteering at the water station through the high school, or at a dance team that won first place and received money for their program.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great pride that I think people have. And, now that I'm on this side of the marathon weekend of events, I hate the fact that I've lost sight of what it looks like on the outside, but I'm just so stinking happy and proud of, what we've been able to contribute for 33 years that, I just love it. I just love it.
It makes such a difference that $1,000 going to the cross country team. And we saw it from the Red Smith side when we, would give to similar groups like that. It's so huge for those groups. That money means the world to them. That's so big for groups like that.
Yeah, and my favorite thing at the end of the year, at the end of the season, I get to give out money. We have a school challenge for kids who participate in the Kids Fun Run or the 5K. We take a percentage of that school and we have them against other schools their size. I love going to schools and handing them money. It's a big assembly. Kids are wearing their shirts and their medals. Yep. I love that. And I love giving money to other organizations that support us, who are like-minded and go with our mission statement of community health and wellness, one step at a time. It means a lot for me to meet them and to contribute to their mission. I love doing that.
Cool. Oh, absolutely. It's fun to hear their story and just to meet people and see just to see what's happening out there. It's so much good and it's incredible. But Julie, this has been fantastic. One, to meet you. Two, to learn about the marathon. It's like we said earlier, it's one of those things you just kind of take for granted, and to understand just the planning process is mind-boggling. But thank you so much, and look forward to another 34 years.
Well, if I don't see you on the course, maybe you'll volunteer.
There you go.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. No doubt.
All right, Newsa-Cast listeners, we are ready for that throwback segment from the Red Smith Sports Banquet. And we are throwing it back to 2002 and the legendary pitcher, Fergie Jenkins.
Yeah, Tosh, the old Cub. Baseball season starting here. We want to throw a baseball guy in there, and there's nobody better than Fergie, that's for sure. He was a great guy, too.
He was great. It was a great interview. We got to sit down and talk with him a little bit. He was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1991, and it may or may not know, but he was the first Canadian inducted into Baseball Hall of Fame. So
I forgot about
bit of
that.
Trivia.
Yeah, there we go. We're like our Canadian friends.
Oh, absolutely. So this is a great interview. You're going to love it. He was an intimidating pitcher. And sit back. You're going to get a glimpse of this interview in our podcast, but you can catch the full interview on our YouTube channel on Sunday. Go there, like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, and check out the full interview on Sunday.
The Red Smith Sports Award Banquet.
The main reason that this banquet was established was to honor at least 10 local area people who might not have been honored for the job they do to help in sports.
The Red Smith Award, of course, goes to someone who has made some unique contributions to sport.
Who has made a significant contribution to sports in the state of Wisconsin.
And also epitomizes the great values that Red Smith exhibited.
Let's give a Red Smith welcome.
It is my pleasure to present the 2002 Nice Guy Award to Ferguson Arthur Jenkins.
Thank you very much, Dennis. It's good to be here in Appleton. I've been here several times, but passing through, going fishing. I'm a sportsman. I'm glad, Dennis, we were on the committee and the committee because of Mays and Aaron and Ron Hunt and Frank Robinson and a pretty good friend of mine just up the road from here, Don Baylor, on the committee. I probably wouldn't have won this award. Yeah. Don Baylor very seldom speaks to me. We do the Cub convention, and I'll nod to him, and that's what he gets, nods. I used to wear his elbow out. The first 3 years, he was, I think, with the Angels and Baltimore. I hit him 11 times. So, he doesn't speak too highly of me. And we don't exchange letters or buy each other drinks either. But that's part of the game. You know, winning is part of the game. I know there's a lot of Cub fans here. I enjoyed, thank you. I had 10 great seasons with the Chicago Cubs, playing day baseball. The best way to play the game ever is under natural sunlight, believe me. And getting up in the morning, going to the ballpark, being there at 9:45, putting on those pinstripes and playing in Wrigley Field was outstanding. You know, I got traded there from the Phillies. I'm 22, 23 years old, and really didn't know a lot about Chicago. I knew the mafia was there. And don't hang around on Cicero Avenue. So, you know, you look back at a lot of things that you do in the game. Never thought I was going to be a ball player. Being from a small town in Chatham, Ontario, it's about 65, 70 miles from Detroit, 135, from Toronto. Hockey was the influence. I played against some NHL hockey players, guys that went their way and I went my way. Whitey Stapleton, Walt Tkachuk. We played baseball and hockey against each other. Derek Sanderson, Chico Mackey, Pitt Martin, Mickey Gray, who ended up playing with Buffalo and also, I think, with the Montreal Canadiens. And you look back and, you know, the nice thing about being a major league player, when you go to these NHL cities, you just tell them who you are and say, hey, I was a teammate of so-and-so. Get a hold of them. Maybe I can get a free ticket for a game. You get the traveling secretary to phone when I played in Boston. Bobby Orr. Geez, okay, Bobby, it's Fergie Jenkins. Think I can get about 5 tickets tonight? And you'd get them. But that's a nice thing about it. But your sports kind of, you know, conflict. I played 3 sports. I don't think there's any 3-sport athletes in the world. Maybe, well, yeah, Dave Winfield. Played basketball, baseball, and football. Well, I played hockey, basketball, and baseball. Played 2 years for the Globetrotters. I played with them 67 and 68. Played about 200 ball games. The only reason I played with them is because they never lost. You know, you get back to spring training, I tell guys, I said, man, we had a great season. I played 85 games this year, and we didn't lose a game. The crowd was happy, I was happy, you know. So that's the fun thing about playing with the Globetrotters. And baseball's fun. My first year in the American League, Dick Stello, American League umpire, just wouldn't give me a call strike 3 on Al Kaline. And I tried for inning after inning, strike this guy out, homestand, you know. And I call out Jim Sundberg, who's a rookie catcher. I said, Jimmy, come on out here. So he comes out. I said, just stand here in front of the mound. Umpire will come out. So he comes out. He says, what's wrong, Jenkins? I says, Ray, you got to give me that pitch. And he says, my name's not Ray. I said, yeah, it's Ray Charles. I said, if you don't want to be Ray Charles, you could be Stevie Wonder, too, or Jose Feliciano. But I need that pitch. The sport of baseball, I think by far, is the best game that's ever been introduced on the face of this earth. Baseball, believe me. If you can't, thank you. If you can't have fun playing baseball and make money, you shouldn't be alive, believe me. It's such a great game. My hockey career was very short, too. I played junior B hockey. My mother told me, don't play, it's too violent, because the only black things on the ice are you and the puck. I used to get into more fights, lost more teeth, and I knew I wouldn't have played 21 years in hockey. Thank you very much. Enjoyed myself.
All right, Tosh, another fantastic Red Smith Banquet throwback, Ferguson Jenkins. Remember, you can get all of those on the Newsa-Cast YouTube page. Like and subscribe. It helps. It helps. All right, Tosh, well, we almost got to the end of another great episode, but we always like to kind of recap the day or recap the week with a little It's Forgotten, and I'm never forgetting. So how about you, Tosh? What's forgotten in your world?
Well, after 3 days of watching the Brewers get spanked by the Yankees in their home run barrage, I want to forget the torpedo bat. But I will say this: I want to forget it because I'm a Brewers fan and the enormous amount of home runs. But somebody, I heard it was an MIT physicist, was doing stuff on the bats and came up with the idea of the torpedo bat and more wood at the label where some of the guys put their power or, where they hit the ball the most. It's amazing that somebody didn't, in this day of analytics, think of something like this sooner to just change the shape a little bit so you have more wood on the ball when you hit it.
Yeah, the hardest part of the bat was right there. Incredible, because you and I were talking that it's, it's 2.61 inch diameter. That's the thickest part of the bat, and evidently this torpedo shape. Usually that's it's the handle, right? The little knob. That's usually the
barrel.
Well, the barrel is the what?
They changed the shape of the barrel.
Okay,
so it kind of tapers down toward the end of the bat. It looks like a torpedo. So it used to be where the thickest part was like from the label to the end. So they shifted that and made it more to the label where a lot of the guys hit, the meat of the bat. So it's a little bit different shape, but obviously, I know Yankee Stadium is notorious for the wind blowing out, and when it does, you hit a lot of home runs. But is it the bats? Is it the Brewers pitching? Is it the Yankees hitting? They hit a lot of home runs last year as well.
Right.
So who knows? But it was a home run weekend for the Yankees this weekend. So
incredible! No, you're right. Kudos to whoever came up with that.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more about it.
Oh, no doubt.
So I want to forget the torpedo bats, Joe. But how about yourself?
Well, Tosh, this was forgotten, and if anybody listened to the Art Holst throwback, you might have caught this. It was real quick, but it triggered a memory for me, and I remember this crystal clear. So we're watching an NFL game, right? In quarter ends, you see the clock run out. You go to a TV commercial. The players come off to the side, whatever happens during a timeout or during a quarter break. But in the NFL back, I don't know when they changed this. Let's say right around 90. It was definitely there in the 70s, maybe early 80s. But at the end of every quarter, half, end of the game, one of the wing officials had a pistol, like a starter pistol, like you see in track, and they would shoot the gun to signify the end of expiration of time. That quarter break or half or whatever. And he mentioned in a story that he was getting the pistol ready or whatever. It's like, holy cow, that is right. They used to shoot a gun at the end of the quarter, and that too reminded me that back in those days, NFL games were so locked into noon and 3, but back in the day, back when they were shooting pistols to end the quarters, those games were starting at 1 p.m., not noon.
All right.
So yeah, good old Art Holst. That's why I love the throwback.
There you go.
Newsa-Cast YouTube page. Check them out, man. Trigger your memory.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Brings back what you forgot. So Well, Tosh, that's forgotten and maybe rediscovered, but what's something you're not forgetting?
Well, I'm in full baseball mode. It's just not forgetting opening day. MLB opening day is just, I've been lucky to go to a few Brewer opening days, and there's just something about opening day that it just, signifies the summer coming and, baseball, such a long season, but opening day, everybody has hope because everybody's tied. And it's just something about opening day that will always be, good memories for me.
Absolutely. I can think of one in particular sitting with you out in somewhere high up in right field at Old County Stadium with the snow flying, but it was fun.
It was fun. Yeah. Yeah. With County Stadium, you had snow, you had rain. You might have all 4 seasons in the same game.
Oh, it could just be brutal. You'd be lucky to play. They still do that, I think, in with the major league schedule, but that's why they always, they'll play the opening day game and then have an off day, but that's just because the weather's so unpredictable.
And you never know. You could have Ricky Henderson out there in left field giving you the finger because you're heckling him.
That's right.
Those always good times as well.
Know. R.I.P. Ricky.
All right. So opening day for me. Joe, how about yourself? What are you never forgetting?
Well, Tosh, we're going to switch to another sport. It's not even really a sport, but had coffee with my daughter this afternoon, and we were going over the Fox Cities Performing Arts Center, their Broadway series for 2025, and it's a pretty stellar lineup, and I'm certainly not going to forget this. And in fact, I made a deal with her that we're going to go to a couple of these shows. Book of Mormon, The Great Gatsby, Hamilton's coming back, Beauty and the Beast. It's a great lineup, and you should check it out. I think it's a wonder. There again, there's another thing. I can't even imagine. We have such a beautiful theater. I mean, that thing is world class, really, when you think about it. And this Broadway series, they're fantastic. I caught Hamilton last time through, and I want to catch that one again. It's so good.
Yeah, I saw Hamilton in Chicago when it just came off Broadway, nice. Which was fabulous. It was great. And I saw Book of Mormon when it was here, many years ago, which it is absolutely hilarious. It is so funny. I heard that. I would recommend going to see Book of Mormon. You're going to pee your pants laughing. It is so funny.
Definitely going to do that.
So, some good shows. I know Alicia Keys' Hell's Kitchen is there as well. So that's a really good one. So I think that's the Wisconsin debut of Hell's Kitchen as well. So some good shows. Yeah.
Right over the holidays, Book of Mormon right before Thanksgiving, Hell's Kitchen right before Christmas.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sounds like good Christmas presents.
Yeah, make the holiday bright and cheery.
There you go.
But we have summer coming up and spring. We've got the wetness of spring. Let's get some little sun here, Tosh, and let's hope when we come back at you next Thursday, it's a little bit nicer and a little bit drier.
Sounds like a good plan.
All right, Tosh, always a hoot. Till next week. Thanks for listening to the Newsa-Cast. We appreciate your support in our journey to highlight and support youth sports in Northeast Wisconsin. Help us grow by subscribing wherever you get your podcasts or sharing the Newsa-Cast on social media. Huge thank you to Diggstown for all the music in today's episode. Catch a gig, find them on Spotify, or check them out at diggstownrocks.com. One of the best ways to help us grow the show is to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcast and Spotify. It really helps our visibility. This Newsa-Cast was produced by Polywave Studios.